All right, we're installing this fuel custom intake on this Raptor 700. We previously already had a Power Commander fuel controller installed, and all that does is hook into your fuel rail and your throttle position sensor. And for this fuel custom intake that we're installing, we had actually also installed an AIS blocking plate up in front of the Raptor to block off a reed valve. That's something you can look up on Cuervo Racing. He has stuff on that blocking plate, but in doing so, we removed some tubing and we're able to use that tubing on the fuel custom intake. So this hole here is where the tubes would have originally ran to go up to that blocking plate, but since we don't have that anymore, we can plug off this hole. This plug comes with the Jose Cuervo AIS blocking plate set. This is the old tubing off of that. So what we did is we cut those. This one's gonna go to the throttle body. This one's gonna go to the crankcase breather. We've cut them to length, so that will just fit down in here. That's gonna go onto there, and then you can hook the two hoses up that you have. This one's plugged, so you don't have the hose up to where the reed valve is, where the blocking plate is now at. How to run it. So I figured we'd make the video so you can see what we did for it. It seems to work really good. We've stuck it on 2 other Raptors so far. And then up here, this plug here for your temperature sensor originally runs underneath the stock intake. So what we did was we cut the connector, or the clip that it was on, and we've now ran this part of the wire harness above the intake instead, so you have plenty of length to get to this temperature sensor. If you don't do that, you're gonna stretch it really hard and try to plug it into place. So by putting this wire harness above the intake, gives you plenty of length for that. We also cut off the stock cover that was on that. We cut it back, and we were able to plug it in easier. We'll show you over here on a different Raptor what we did. We kind of gooped it up with silicone here, but by cutting that off, we're able to kind of tie it down nice and tight and keep it tight along the intake so it doesn't have any wiggle or play to it. And it also gives you room when you put your seat on, you're less likely to hit that with the connector that goes in. So that's kind of the route we took for installing that. Hopefully that helps somebody out. Okay, now we're this far with the fuel custom intake installation. And if you're a dune rider, you don't have to worry about this, but we're trail riders, so we want to put the fuel custom intake box that they make for it in here. Now, we put on Barker's dual exhausts on this, so there's a clearance issue that has to do with this exhaust pipe on this side to try to fit it in. So what you do is you put it down in place to see where your clearance issue is at, and it's on this side, this part of the box. There's already a pre-molded indentation for the clearance of the stock pipe, but since we have the Barker's exhaust, there's a little different angle on it. So it's pretty simple. All you have to do is, we just took a basic heat gun and a 12-ounce pop can. You heat this area up real nice, and you push it in even further to give yourself clearance on that exhaust pipe. That's pretty much the only issue you're gonna have if you wanna install this box with a fuel custom intake. So it can be done. Barker's website says that there's some clearance issue there, but they suggested trying this, and it worked out perfect for us. Because if you ride trails, not having a box to kind of keep some water from splashing on the filter is not an option. You gotta have that. So that's kind of where I just wanted to mention that as far as what we did with the box and where we're at and how things are going. Okay, we now have our intake installed. We've done the adjustment on the, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but up in there, we got just enough, that's good enough clearance on the exhaust. It doesn't hurt anything as far as the air box and melting things. We'd be okay with that. We have done this on 2 other Raptors. It works fine. Intake's all installed, air box. And then that's your temp sensor there, and what we did to tie stuff down and keep it clean. Wire harness up through here, and this hose goes to the crankcase breather. It's down in here. We took the extra hose just to kind of keep it from wearing on that bolt. And then you have the other hose that went up to the throttle body there. That's pretty much it as far as the main points. Is this wire harness has to go, instead of below the intake, has to go above it. The way we tied that to kind of keep it out of the way when you put your seat on. And then if you opt to go with a fuel custom intake air box like we did, you have to make that slight adjustment if you have, of course, the Barker's dual exhaust on your quad. And the good thing with that though is Fuel Customs made a map for the Dyno Jet fuel controller, or PC5, whichever one you have. You just download their map right into it. You install this kit right here, Fuel Custom Intake, with Barker's duals, and you load their map in and you're good to go. And we have 2 other Raptors, that exact same setup that we've done. And we got another one up there. He did the round cans. These are the ovals. Those 2 they chose to go with the powder coated black. I went with the silver. But that setup right there is an awesome setup if you're looking to make a big performance improvement. That's gives you a lot of power. Good performance increase. I did also want to mention that as far as where the temp sensor goes, we ended up making ourselves a little rubber gasket to put in there that fit perfectly around that temp sensor. And then I took a couple washers to get the same stack height. So that way when you tighten this down, I had to put a slight bend on his bracket there to get an even force down on the whole setup there as far as the temp sensor and how it seals. We even threw some silicone up in there, some really good silicone, just to help seal everything up, just to make sure there's gonna be no dust get by. We did the same thing with little hose connectors. Just extra precaution as far as sealing everything up and making sure nothing's gonna let any dust by.